So you want to talk about role-playing games, huh? Fine.
Extreme TT RPG News. 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 Yeah, Extreme TT RPG News. Extreme TT RPG News. They're the world's most awesome TTRPG. These little masters are learning how to be. When the wizards and the ghosts attack, these TTRPG boys will cut up the track. Extreme! Extreme! News that is extreme! TTRPG power.
Well, hey folks, it's your old pal King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. As I'm sure some of you might have seen on Twitter/X today, Elon Musk has come to Gary Gygax's defense and basically said that all the developers at Wizards of the Coast could burn in hell for trying to erase our Lord and Savior Gary Gygax from the history of Dungeons and Dragons. And, you know, of course, a lot of people are all excited about this because either you think Elon Musk is some terrible idiot, closet Nazi who's just wasting his money left and right on stupid pet projects, or you think he's a super genius Tony Stark Iron Man guy. I disagree with both of these. Obviously, he's not too dumb because he has managed to thread the needle to success and make an awful lot of money. I don't think he's a genius, though. Most of the things that people are giving him credit for are the works of other people, and a lot of the ideas he spouts I recognize as coming from a lot of the very same science fiction I read when I was a kid. It's not like he's that different in age for me. So, he's just, you know, investing money into science fiction projects and just kind of seeing what pans out. Digging a tunnel under Los Angeles to build an underground highway? Not so much. Rockets that can land themselves like something out of 1950 science fiction? Turns out that works if you put enough money and research into it. End of story. But Elon Musk giving a nod to the conservative side of the Dungeons and Dragons community, while I'm sure is great for everyone's morale, also leads to things where you see people like the RPG pundit making posts that can basically be summed up as, please Elon Musk, please pay attention to me. Please look at the OSR and buy my books. Because rich people really want people begging them for attention. It impresses them. They're going to be like, oh man, I need to check this dude's shit out. He's begging me to look at it. I don't know, a bit of a storm in a teacup. Unless he's planning on buying the Dungeons and Dragons brand away from Hasbro and or just buying Hasbro.
Editor's note, he's probably a little too busy buying MSNBC right now to be bothered with buying Wizards of the Coast.
I don't really think that this is all that much of a news story. Beyond that, you know, someone rich and powerful paid a tiny little bit of attention to a subject that is near and dear to all of our hearts, quote unquote. But beyond that, it means nothing. It's not going to change any of the behaviors of the people who are running these games right now, trying to strip mine them for value, and it's just making a few people come across as just being a little too desperate for attention. Maybe that's hypocritical of me. I don't know. I've always generally taken role-playing games, the face value of the product. I don't really care about the writers or their backstories or who they are as people. Did the product they sell me function and inspire ideas and be usable? Yes or no? Speaking of opportunists, I also saw Clownfish TV trying to jump on the Elon Musk acknowledged D&D's problem bandwagon by, you know, once again promoting, hey guys, we got our own role-playing game coming. It's still in playtest, but it's coming. I know people out there really don't like this take, but I think way too much time is wasted on playtesting when developing role-playing games. You should be able to tell real quickly whether or not your rule system functions. And if you know what you're doing, if you have any experience running games, then you should be able to go in to setting design knowing how to set things up so that it's functional in play. You know, hiring people from completely outside of the realm of role-playing games and having them come up with a setting and various villains and stuff for player characters to face, yes, might lead to some imbalance issues. But that's why people who are actually experienced game masters are good choices for people to actually develop and write these projects as they've, crested out of their beginning years. Also, just on a philosophical level, there are so many variables into how people can choose to run role-playing games and to what kind of people are playing that you cannot really truly account for every possible variable through playtesting. So it's not like I'm saying people should have zero playtesting. You do want to make sure the rules work and all that, but you don't need to drag this out for so many years. And the time that Clownfish TV has been playtesting their rule system, I've put out 30 books, something like that. Somewhere in between these two extremes, there should be a happy medium. It's all well and good though to be all like, hey guys, now that Elon Musk has said that D&D sucks, I got an alternative for you. That might come out in 2 or 3 years. We got to finish playtesting it, bro. It's almost the equivalent of production hell for a movie. It's like, if it's taking you this long to playtest it, it means that there are some problems with your rule system from the get-go that's causing you to have to stop and make adjustments and then test it again, and then stop and make adjustments and test it again. If you knew what you were doing, this should have been functional right out the bat, shouldn't it? So, maybe, just maybe, Clownfish TV is not going to be the savior of role-playing games by providing an alternative for D&D that everyone's going to jump on aboard. Plus, also, there's too many people trying for that right now. RPG pundits self-serving at Elon Musk tweets to try to get him to get into the OSR on the off chance that Elon Musk will pick up Baptism of Fire and not any one of 100 other fucking generic D&D wannabe games that are out there. Because that's what a rich billionaire wants. He wants an off-brand amateur version of the prestige brand. No, it's more likely that he would try to just buy WotC and just hire new people in than he would to want to uplift a wannabe off-brand D&D book. So there, we talked about role-playing games, and it was only 40% political. Haha. Now for my bit of self-servingness, watch an ad for one of my recent books.
We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
In the year 1999, civilization as we know it will lay in ruins. Several years prior, in the past to the future, our future, the world stood in awe of itself and its achievements, with the release of the game RealityGate home entertainment console, a revolutionary, state-of-the-art virtual reality interface that promised to put you, the average consumer, in the game! But for real this time. The United States Congress immediately called for hearings to get to the bottom of this strange new device. Kids and young adults across America in all 5 key demographics were enjoying themselves and having a great time, and our government wanted to know why. Was it communism? The scientists who developed the game RealityGate software assured the esteemed members of Congress that their market shares would show incredible dividends during the next fiscal quarter. Confident that they would be able to skim a percentage of the profits for themselves with minimal public awareness, they gave the game RealityGate their approval, and it was swiftly certified by the FDA. The game R-Gate, as it was to be called after marketing conducted research on what potential buyers would respond to best, the Freedom X Hyper console was a close runner-up, was sold to millions of average, tax-paying American households, and Canada. The console used a special form of circuitry which used lasers to create micro wormholes that physically connected the game R-Gates directly to RealityGate Entertainment servers hidden deep in the wilds of Silicon Valley. Upon activating the console's gate, the players would be transported both physically and mentally into the game environment which they had purchased separately for only $59.99. The The experience would only last a fraction of a second, and yet the players would have memories of hours upon hours of immersive online play. The technology worked. Everything seemed normal. At first. 2/3 of the North American population had tried out the game Arcade by the end of its first year on the market. They did not yet realize that when the game Arcade opened a portal in space and time to put you in the game, that you would come back, changed by the amazing graphics and processing speeds. The game Arcade home entertainment console had just gone onto the foreign market, and preliminary data showed an incredible sales potential in the making when the first cases of the N-cell virus were documented. The N-cell virus earned its name because it was a virus that went in your cells to infect you. It had somehow leaped from digital zombie NPCs in a first-person shooting game into the biological user population. It had a 12-month incubation period, and the initial symptoms seemed relatively minor. Some minor complaints about modern comic books or too many female action heroes to be able to buy into the verisimilitude. They seem to really get agitated about verisimilitude for some reason. Not enough to raise the alarm early enough. By the time the first infected cases started to mutate into Stage 2 trolls, the game Arcade had been used by over 4 billion consumers worldwide. It was too late for them. Now, just a few years later, back in the future I first mentioned, the world is a wasteland. Small bands of survivors struggle to regain their freedom, while resistance fighters defend them from the mutant gangs of Silicon Valley's warlords. Most of the male population is gone, changed by the progressive mutations of the N-cell virus. The people who avoided catching it, or were somehow naturally immune, are few and far between, and highly valued to the survivors, for they may be the key to saving the human race. But their dreams of a better future than this may soon die on the vine, as the turn of the millennium grows ever nearer. The warlords of Silicon Valley stand united under new leadership. Most powerful of the Khans, the Rogan Joe. He has vowed to crush the resistance once and for all, and to take them as vessels to forge a new generation of consumers. The most key demographic to ever live. His marketing strategies are flawless. His army of trolls, none finer. The resistance shall surely fall before him, and there is no one left in this dystopian post-game Arcade nightmare to come to their rescue. In order to save the future from the mistakes of their past, our future, we will have to look back to the past. Our past. And their past too. Look, just don't worry about it. It's time travel. You know how it is. We will have to look back into the past, some 3,600 years to be exact. Counting from now, not then. There? Great, now I'm getting confused. Amazons! That's what I'm trying to get to. The Amazons. Plucked from the shores of Atlantis on the eve of its annihilation, then sent hurtling to the year 1999 to save the human race.
Now return to our program in progress.
Until next time, stay waspidated.
She's a gamer kid, and a whore. And she's gonna be gamergating like she's never gamergated before. She's a gamergate, and a whore. And she's gonna be gamergating like she's never gamergated before. She's a gamergate, and a whore. And she's gonna be gamergating like she's never gamergated before. She's a gamergate, and a whore. Yeah!
You know, when it comes down to it, saying anything about D&D is pretty fucking mainstream. I would be far more impressed if Elon Musk had said something supportive of Kevin Symbieta and Rifts. That would actually prove he's got some legitimate gamer cred. But he hasn't. So I guess we'll just wait and see.